An AI agent just booked a whole trip, flights, a hotel, and it paid, without ever holding your money, your cards, or your passwords. No shared secrets, no standing access. You've already seen the bank issue credentials, exchange tokens, and broadcast signals, each on its own in the explainers before this one. Now watch them compose, an agent acting under delegated authority, with the bank granting, narrowing, or refusing every single step. Nothing hidden. Every token, every check, every refusal. The OpenID Foundation has a name for this problem, Agentic Authorization, and a white paper that frames it. When software acts for you, the lazy model breaks badly. Share a secret, grant broad access, and hope. What you want instead is a delegation the agent can prove, scoped to one task that narrows as it's passed onward and can be revoked the instant you change your mind. The good news is there's no new cryptography to invent. Every piece already exists as a published standard. Let's meet the 5 that matter, quickly, then watch them click together. First, verifiable credentials. You've seen these on their own. An issuer signs a statement. You hold it. A verifier checks it's genuine without ever calling the issuer back. They're issued with OpenID for verifiable credential issuance in the Selective Disclosure SDJWT format. The twist here, the credential won't describe a person, it'll describe a delegation you've granted an agent. Second, token exchange RFC 8693. It does exactly one thing: swap one token for another, narrower one. Hand in a token, ask for less, and get back a token that can do less. One that also records who is acting on whose behalf in a nested act claim. This is the mechanism by which authority shrinks as it passes from agent to subagent. Third, CIBA, Client-Initiated Backchannel Authentication. It lets a service ask a human to approve something on a separate device, out of band. The thing making the request isn't the thing the human approves on. That's precisely what you want the moment an autonomous agent reaches a decision that should belong to you. Fourth, Rich Authorization Requests, RFC 9396. They replace core scopes with typed, structured authority. Instead of a vague payment scope, you get a payment initiation object, an amount, a currency, and a purpose. The type carries the power, the detail bounds it. This is the authority that rides on every token you're about to see. And fifth, shared signals, the framework from its own explainer. It lets one party broadcast signed events the instant they happen. A bank can push a "this was revoked" security event token to every system that's listening in seconds. Hold that thought. It's how the entire delegated chain gets torn down at the very end. 5 standards. Now let's compose them. The lazy way to give an agent power is to hand it your password or a long-lived token and hope. That's a standing key to your whole account in software you don't control, that you can't easily claw back. We want the opposite, authority that is scoped to one job, provable on every call, narrowing as it's delegated onward, and revocable in seconds. First, the cast. The user, you. The bank, which is the authority, it authenticates you, holds your money, and decides everything. A wallet provider, which attests to what the agent is. A route travel agent and the sub-agents it spawns. And MCP resource servers, the airline, the hotel, the payments rail, the things that actually do the work, and the operating principle that runs through all of it. 2 gates on every hop. Authority on the token is RAR, what you may do. Eligibility off the token is the client's registered metadata, whether it's even allowed to ask for that authority. On the token, your power. Off the token, your permission to request it. Step 1. The agent proves what it is. It generates its own key, held in secure storage. The agent is a wallet instance. Its wallet provider signs 2 attestations, a wallet attestation that binds the key to the client, and a key attestation that asserts how securely it's stored. This is HAIP, the High Assurance Interoperability Profile. The bank validates those attestations against the provider's keys, plus a fresh proof of possession, so it knows a real, attested agent is on the line. But notice the envelope at the top still reads nothing spendable. Attestation proves who and what. It grants no authority whatsoever. That comes next, and only from you. Now the agent asks for authority, using OpenID for verifiable credential issuance. The agent initiates the request, but it can't grant itself anything. You are redirected to your bank, you sign in, and you approve the envelope. A Berlin business trip, £2,000, those dates, that destination. The bank, the issuer, is the only party that can say yes. What it issues is an SDJWT verifiable credential, a travel booking envelope bound to the agent's key, short-lived, carrying the amount, the destination, the dates, and the purpose as typed RAR. Here's the credential card, and here's the raw credential. You can paste it into sdjwt.org and read every claim. And one detail to remember for later, at issuance the bank writes a status index into an OAuth token status list. That single bit is how it will kill this credential later without calling anyone. Now the agent goes to work. The route travel agent presents your credential, and the bank exchanges it for an access token, RFC 8693, token exchange. Watch two things on every hop: the envelope at the top, which only ever shrinks, and the ACT chain inside the token, the cryptographic record of who is acting on whose behalf. Before it issues anything, the bank checks that status bit from a moment ago. Still valid, so the chain begins. The orchestrator spawns a sub-agent for the flight and mints it a downscoped token, narrowed from travel booking at 2,000 to airline booking caped at 800. Authority only moves down. That sub-agent calls the airline's MCP server, bearer token RFC 9728 protected resource metadata tells it where to authenticate, and RFC 8707 pins the audience so this token works only at the airline. It searches, it picks a flight at 540. Open any hop and you see the real token. Subject, the nested act, the client ID, the audience, the authorization details. Nothing is a placeholder. Then the payment. And this is the elegant part. The orchestrator mints a single-use payment initiation token, the real open banking type, for exactly £540 and hands it to the merchant. The airline settles through the payments resource server. The agent never touches the money rail directly. The hotel leg repeats the pattern, and the whole time, cumulative spend is enforced at the payment server against your £2,000 budget. Watch the meter draw down to 840 remaining. The trip is booked, and every pound moved under a token you could read. That was Model A, one OAuth client. The sub-agents live inside a single wallet. The client ID stays the same on every hop, only the ACT chain grows. The orchestrator spawns workers it controls. Model B is different. Here the payment leg is handed to a genuinely separate payments agent, its own client ID, its own attested key. It authenticates as itself and re-exchanges your booking token on your behalf. That's token exchange across distinct clients. Watch the client ID flip from agent demo to payments agent on the payment hop. Same standards, two trust topologies, a sub-agent inside one identity or a distinct agent acting on your behalf. None of this matters unless the no is as real as the yes. So here are 5 requests that are supposed to fail. A hotel agent tries to book a flight. Denied. It isn't eligible for that type. Off the token. An airline agent tries to widen its cap to 5,000. Denied. Authority only narrows. A read-only research agent tries to spend. Denied on eligibility. It was never a payment client. An extra settlement that would breach the cumulative budget. Denied at the payments server. And a flight to Paris when you authorized Berlin. Denied as out of policy at the resource server. That's the purpose guard, not the money guard. Each refusal is a real request and a real verbatim error. These failing is the system working. Some things an agent should simply never do alone. So we set a threshold. Above £1,500, autonomy stops. On the left, the agent attempts a £1,500 payment. Token exchange doesn't refuse. It returns step up required. The agent cannot proceed on its own authority. It has to bring you back in. So the bank runs CIBA, Client-Initiated Back-Channel Authentication. The login hint token is your delegation credential, so the bank knows exactly which customer to ask. On the right, your bank device. A push arrives. Approve £1,500 for the Berlin trip, with the real amount and purpose. Nothing happens until you act. You approve on your device. Only now does the bank mint the payment token and hand it back to the agent, which settles. The human stayed in the loop for exactly the decision that needed a human, and not a step before. That's the whole point. The agent is fast where it's trusted and stops where it isn't. Delegation you can't revoke is a liability. So watch what one revocation does. You revoke the delegation at the bank. Two things fire on two different objects. First, the bank flips this credentials bit in the OAuth token status list, the status we wrote at issuance, to revoked. The authorization server checks that bit at every token issuance, so no new token in this chain can ever be minted again. Second, the bank signs a security event token and pushes it over shared signals, RFC 8935, to every resource server's denalized in near real time. So existing tokens die too. The next MCP call bounces with a 401. Revoke once and the whole downstream chain snaps. The authorization server refuses and every resource server has already been told. Rerun the trip and it can't even start. This is revoking a delegated chain, not chasing individual tokens. Let's be honest about what you just saw. Standards doing real work, HAIP attestation, OpenID for verifiable credential issuance, SDJWT credentials, RAR for typed authority, token exchange for the ACK chain, resource indicators to pin audience, CIBA for the human step-up, MCP auth with protected resource metadata, shared signals and the token status list for revocation, and our own small profile on top, the travel booking, airline booking and payment initiation types, and the purpose, constraints, route grant and route budget claims. Standard where it's standard, clearly labeled where it's ours. No spec is claimed to endorse what it doesn't. That was a simple flow. One bank, a few agents, one user. But a real deployment spans credential issuers, OpenID providers, authorization servers, wallets, resource servers, and MCP servers, each with its own permissions, policies, attributes, and trust relationships. Governing all of it, trust, eligibility, discovery, and revocation across an entire ecosystem is a fundamentally different problem, and it calls for a different kind of system. Introducing Raidiam Connect, the ecosystem control plane, bringing order to the universe of entities in your digital world. One platform to govern trust, eligibility, discovery, and revocation across every participant. That's part 2.